If I lost everything tomorrow and had to start a box truck business from scratch in 2025, I would do things completely differently than when I first started. Back in 2021, I made every mistake in the book, bought the wrong truck, chose terrible loads, and could have went bankrupt within my first 3 months. But now, after building a 6-figure box truck operation and helping a ton of others do the same, I've cracked the code on what actually works in today's market. What I'm about to share with you is the exact blueprint I would follow if I had to start over with zero experience and limited capital. This isn't theory. This is a battle-tested strategy that accounts for all the changes in the industry, new regulations, and market conditions that didn't exist just a few years ago. But here's the thing that most people don't realize. The box truck business has fundamentally changed, and if you're following outdated advice from 2020 or 2021, you may be setting yourself up for failure. The first thing I would do differently is my market research. Before I even think about buying a truck or getting my authority, I would spend 2 weeks studying the freight markets, using tools like DAT Market Watch and Freight Waves. I'd identify the top 10 freight-rich markets in the country, places like Atlanta, Dallas, Chicago, Los Angeles, and maybe even Charlotte. I'll analyze the average rates per mile, load availability, and seasonal fluctuations. Then I choose my base location strategically, not just where I happen to live. For example, if I live in a small town like Montana, I seriously consider relocating to a freight hub because the differences in earning potential could be $50,000 plus per year. I'd also research which types of freight are growing, like e-commerce, deliveries, medical supplies, and last mile logistics, versus declining sectors like traditional retail. But choosing the right market is just the foundation. The next decision I would make differently could save me $20,000 in the first year alone, and it's something like 90% of new box truck owners get completely wrong. I will be extremely strategic about my truck selection. Instead of rushing to buy the first truck I found, I create a detailed buying criteria checklist. First, I'd only consider 26-foot non-TDL trucks with gross vehicle weights under 26,000 pounds. Second, I focus exclusively on trucks with Cummins engines and Allison transmissions. This combination is proven for reliability and lower maintenance costs. Third, I target trucks with 150,000 to 350,000 miles, not brand new ones that drain cash flow, and not super high mileage ones that could become money pits. I budget $20,000 to $35,000 for the truck itself, knowing that anything cheaper usually means expensive problems down the road. I'd also get a pre-purchase inspection from a qualified diesel mechanic, even if it costs me $200 to $300, because catching problems early can save thousands later. Hey, listen up. If you're about to start a trucking company or sitting on the fence, DAT just launched their new Co-Pilot Authority program. Now, I'm not sure if you know how tedious and complicated setting up that operating authority can be, but this new program starts at $399, where they will guide you through the hard stuff, handling the paperwork and permits, and then stay with you once you hit the road. Not filling out the right paperwork can slow down the process, and in some cases, cost you more money. They've even decided to throw in the DAT1 load board at 50% off for your first 6 months. Wow. And did you know that it costs $300 to apply for your authority alone? So jumping on this DAT Co-Pilot Authority program to set this all up for $399 is a complete no-brainer. It's literally a one-stop shop. You can get started today at dat.com/authority or click the link below in the video description box. Now, here's where most people make their biggest mistake. They think once they have a truck and authority, they are ready to start making money. But there's a critical step that separates successful operators from those who struggle to break even. And it's something I completely ignored when I first started. I would set up my business infrastructure properly from day one. This means forming an LLC in a business-friendly state like a Delaware or Wyoming. Getting a dedicated business bank account with a bank that understands commercial transportation, and setting up proper accounting systems using software like QuickBooks. I'd also establish relationships with essential service providers before I need them. A good diesel mechanic, a commercial insurance agent who specializes in trucking, and a factoring company for quick payment processing. Most importantly, I create a detailed business plan with realistic financial projections, including all the hidden costs that beginners don't consider: permits, load board subscriptions, fuel cards, maintenance reserves, and emergency funds. If you're finding value in this step-by-step breakdown, Make sure to hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. I post new videos weekly with actionable strategies to help you build a profitable box truck business. Also, stick around because I'm about to reveal the load finding strategy that could double your revenue in the next section. Once I have my truck and business infrastructure in place, I would approach finding loads completely differently than most new operators. When I first started, I made the classic mistake of just signing up for Amazon Relay and hoping for the best. While Amazon can provide consistent work, relying on them exclusively is like putting all your eggs in one basket. The rates have become increasingly competitive and their policies can change overnight, leaving you scrambling for alternatives. What I would do instead is implement what I call the diversified revenue strategy, a systematic approach to building multiple income streams that makes you recession-proof and gives you negotiating power with brokers. My first move would be to establish myself on multiple load boards simultaneously. I'd sign up for DAT, but I wouldn't just randomly bid on loads. Instead, I spent my first week studying each platform to understand their unique characteristics. DAT tends to have a lot of brokers and some decent rates, but more competition. Most load boards have volume, but you need to be more selective about broker quality. Sometimes you have to dig a little deeper to find those regional opportunities that others miss. I'd also use the load board data to identify patterns. Which lanes consistently pay well, which brokers post regularly, and what time of day the best loads appear. This intelligence gathering phase is crucial because it allows you to be strategic rather than reactive. But load boards are just one piece of the puzzle. The real money in box trucking comes from a strategy that most operators never even attempt, yet it's responsible for the highest earning trucks in the industry. I would aggressively pursue dedicated contracts and direct shipper relationships. This means identifying local businesses that regularly ship products and approaching them directly to become their transportation provider. I start by driving around industrial areas and business parks, noting companies with loading docks and frequent shipping activity. Then I research their current logistics setup and prepare a compelling proposal showing how I could save them money or provide better services than their current provider. For example, a local manufacturer might be paying $4 per mile to a large carrier, but I could offer the same service for $3 per mile while still making excellent profit margins. The key is positioning yourself as a reliable, local partner rather than just another truck for hire. I'd also leverage my personal network, friends, family, former colleagues, to get introductions to potential customers. Now, there's one more revenue strategy that could potentially triple your income, but it requires a specific type of truck modification and additional certification. Most box truck operators never even consider this option, yet it's one of the fastest growing segments in the transportation industry. I would seriously consider specializing in temperature-controlled or hazmat freight. These specialized services command premium rates, often 50 to 100% higher than general freight, because they require additional equipment, certifications, and expertise. For temperature-controlled freight, I'd invest in a reefer unit for my box truck, which costs about $8,000 to $12,000, but allows me to haul pharmaceuticals, food products, and other temperature-sensitive cargo. For hazmat, I get my hazmat endorsement and DOT safety certification, opening up opportunities to haul chemicals, medical supplies, and other regulated materials. The barrier to entry is higher, which means less competition and better rates. I'd focus on building relationships with medical supply companies, pharmaceutical distributors, and specialty chemical companies that need reliable, certified carriers. At this point, I will have a solid foundation, the right truck, proper business setup, diversified load sources, and potentially specialized services. But there's still one critical element that determines whether your box truck business becomes a six-figure success or just another side hustle that barely pays the bills. This is the difference between operators who scale to multiple trucks and those who stay stuck driving one truck forever. It's also the hardest part of the business because it requires a fundamental mindset shift that most people struggle to make. I would treat this as a real business from day one, not just a driving job. This means implementing systems and processes that allow the business to run without me being behind the wheel 24/7. I create standard operating procedures for everything: how to evaluate loads, customer communication protocols, maintenance schedules, and financial tracking. I use technology to automate as much as possible: load board apps for finding freight, GPS tracking for monitoring the truck, accounting software for managing finances, and customer relationship management tools for maintaining broker relationships. Most importantly, I track key performance indicators like cost per mile, profit margins, and customer satisfaction scores. This data-driven approach allows you to identify problems early and optimize your operations continuously. But even with great systems and processes, there's one decision that will ultimately determine your long-term success in this business. It's a decision that most operators avoid because it seems risky, but it's actually the key to building real wealth in the trucking industry. I would plan for scaling from the beginning. Instead of thinking like a truck driver, I think like a business owner who happens to operate in the transportation industry. This means building relationships with reliable drivers, understanding the economics of hiring versus driving myself, and creating systems that can handle multiple trucks. I start by driving the truck myself for the first 6 to 12 months to understand the business intimately. But I always be looking for the right driver to take over operations. The goal would be to transition from operator to manager, focusing on finding loads, managing customer relationships, and growing the business while someone else handles the driving. This is how you build a trucking company rather than just buying yourself a job. Finally, there's one piece of advice that I wish someone had given me when I first started. It's not about trucks, loads, or even money. It's about something much more fundamental that will determine whether you're still in business 5 years from now or just another cautionary tale about failed entrepreneurs. I would invest heavily in my own education and mindset development. The box truck business is as much about psychology as it is about logistics. You'll face rejection from brokers, mechanical breakdowns, slow freight markets, and countless other challenges that test your resolve. I commit to reading business and personal development books, listening to podcasts during driving time, and connecting with other successful entrepreneurs. Books like Think and Grow Rich, The Richest Man in Babylon, and The 48 Laws of Power will be required reading. I'd also join trucking associations and online communities where I can learn from experienced operators and stay updated on industry trends. Most importantly, I develop the patience and persistence needed for long-term success. This isn't a get-rich-quick scheme. It's a legitimate business that requires time, effort, and continuous learning to master. Starting a box truck business in 2025 is still one of the most accessible ways to build a six-figure business with relatively low startup costs, but only if you approach it strategically. The days of easy money are over, and success now requires treating this as a serious business venture rather than just a way to make quick cash. By following the blueprint I've outlined today, strategic market research, smart truck selection, proper business setup, diversified revenue streams, systematic operations, scaling mindset, and continuous education, you can build a profitable and sustainable box truck business that provides the freedom and income you're looking for. The opportunities are still there, but they belong to those who are willing to do the work and make the smart decisions from day one. If you found this breakdown valuable and want to dive deeper into building a successful box truck business, check out this video where I show you some profit potential before you even buy your first truck. I'll see you in the next one. And remember, always hustle, never stop growing. Let's go, let's get it, let's eat, baby.